Hey roamers, and welcome back to the channel. Today we want to talk about something that we've seen a lot in the RV community.
It seems like a lot of RV channels are doing videos about minor inconveniences, but the video makes it look like it's this huge disaster.
And a lot of channels out there do that. They sensationalize the little things to get clicks and views. We don't want to do that. We're just going to tell you like it really is and keep it real. And for those of you new around here, I'm Felix.
And I'm Cindy.
Bucky is conspicuous by his absence. Why? Because he's laying right underneath the camera in his bed and he's out cold. So the star of our show won't be here today. But back in August of 2019, we sold everything. Moved into our RV and started living full-time.
We've been back and forth across the country 3 times now following my nursing contracts. We stay in one place usually 3 to 6 months and then move on to another place.
In previous videos, we've talked about how we didn't go through all of these big, sensational problems that we've seen out there. As a matter of fact, we shut down the original channel that we had called We Found Our Way because we just weren't going through the same things that everybody else seemed to be going through.
Yeah.
Until we found out that basically we were going through all those issues, we just weren't sensationalizing them.
Everything wasn't a disaster. We almost lost our rig.
For example, the very, very first time we went and stayed in our RV, it was our test run in Charlotte, North Carolina. We wanted to shower and couldn't figure out how to get hot water. Now, a lot of people would have put a video out there going, oh no, no hot water.
We can't take a shower.
Camping World screwed us. No. What happened was Camping World had the rig winterized. So when they de-winterized it by flushing out the antifreeze and all that stuff, they simply forgot to turn one little lever. And when I called them, they immediately told me what they'd forgotten and apologized and said, this is how you fix that. And they walked me through it and I fixed it. And wow, we had hot water.
It's amazing.
Definitely.
Disaster averted.
Yes, but definitely not video worthy. Other than the fact that we didn't even have a YouTube channel at that point, but not worthy of a big video. Like when we were in Tulsa. This was our first long-term stay somewhere. And we got there actually on Halloween.
And the nights were cold.
Oh, it was damn chilly. And our heat stopped working.
We would hear it come on. The fan would come on, but it would never get warm. And then Felix realized that it was never clicking for the propane to come on.
To actually light, yeah. I had no idea what that was. This was our first, as I said, first long-term contract. We were new. Little baby RVers. So I called a technician. A mobile tech. And he walked into the rig. He said, try and fire up the heat. I did. It did what Cindy just described. And he immediately said, oh, your cell switch is no good. And he proceeded to show me that basically all the cell switches that they were shipping at that point had a defect in them. If I can find the video, I'll put it in this video.
Okay, on this furnace here for Mr. Redyke, it's a Jayco Eagle. Had to do the same thing. We're having to modify the bracket that the cell switch fits on. Had to hone out a notch so that the cell switch will actually close all of the way instead of only closing partial of the way, causing intermittent operation.
But it's basically that there was a piece of plastic that was keeping the thing from closing. I never, ever had to call somebody to do a sail switch for me again. As a matter of fact, when we got this rig, the sail switch was no good, and I ended up just pulling it out and replacing it, and we haven't had a problem since.
Lesson here is just replace your sail switch when you first get a new rig.
Pretty much. Which goes in line with your propane detector. I don't care what anybody says. They talk about, oh, it's got a 5-year lifetime and the date is marked on it, and it is. They're no good. Coming straight out of the factory, they're no good. I don't know what they're using. Maybe they're using seconds. Maybe they're using, stuff they get at a yard sale. I have no idea. But both rigs that we've had, we have had to replace the propane detector almost immediately. Because
They'll start beeping,
uh-huh.
going off like we've got a propane problem, and we can't detect any propane anywhere. We don't smell anything. Nothing's turned on. We couldn't find anything wrong.
There were no leaks, no nothing. And as a matter of fact, we'll get to another one that we've had to encounter and never did a video about. Our propane regulator went bad. I talked about that in a video a while back. I almost killed us. I walked out to have a cigarette, lit my cigarette, and went, what is that smell?
Probably a good idea to put the cigarette out.
Which I did. And I walked to the front of the rig, and that thing was hissing like a snake. And it was leaking like crazy. I had to replace the propane regulator. Okay, I did mention that in a video, but it wasn't the main subject of the video, and I really, maybe a little bit played up that I almost killed us with the lit cigarette. But that's not like a big disaster. And a lot of people play that disaster card to say how bad these rigs are. And I can think of one off the top of my head that really, I don't know why she continues to live RV life if she hates RVs so much. But that's a little off subject. I think Cindy remembers one that happened in Georgia.
Yeah, it was gross. We had a black tank backup. As many times as we have told other people, had people ask us, how do you do your black tank? Done videos about black tanks, ours got clogged. And we've come to decide that it was the Cottonelle bathroom tissue.
It's not just that we came to decide it. I ended up calling somebody to try and fix this thing for me because I couldn't get it to flush. And the bottom line is, when he finally broke the clog, it was a big wad of toilet paper. Cottonelle toilet paper.
So needless to say, I don't get to use Cottonelle anymore.
No, but we do use Angel Soft, which we've been using, and we had been using up to that point. But this was in the height of COVID and the big toilet paper disaster of 2020.
You took what you could get about
Exactly.
that.
Also, not worth a big video with a thumbnail saying, "Oh my God, black tank explosion."
Another toilet situation. You know that little pedal that you push to make the stuff go down?
A little foot pedal.
It broke. And I'm thinking, hey, let's just run down to the RV place and get a replacement pedal. They don't sell them.
Not on the, at least not on the toilet that we had at the time, which was a Dometic 300. It was the basic plastic toilet that they sold and that they installed with the Keystone Bullet.
And We ended up having to get a whole new toilet because the pedal broke.
Right. Which we bought the Dometic 310, which is a ceramic toilet.
Ended up being easier to clean. And was it higher? It was a little bit higher.
It's a little bit higher.
So,
And I wholeheartedly suggest that if you have anything but the Dometic 310, put in the Dometic 310. Now, when that happened to me, I had just finished using the bathroom, and I stepped on the pedal, and the pedal just kind of fell off. And I didn't panic. I didn't say, "Oh my God, my rig is falling apart." No. I went, "Oh,
that's not good.
this ain't good, honey." And the following day, we went to, I don't think it was Camping World.
I think it was I can't think of the name of that other one.
Yeah, the other big one. If you can think of the name of the other big one, let us know in the comments. But it was them. And we went and we bought a Dometic 310, and I replaced it, which is about as easy a job as you could possibly imagine. The most difficult part of the job is controlling the water when you disconnect the lines. Just, make sure you have like towels down or something so that you're not spilling water all over. It's 2 bolts. Put in the new one. Well, take out the old one, put in the new one, and you're done. Not disaster worthy.
No.
Now, in our first rig, we were having a leak that was pretty intermittent, and we could not find where it was coming from.
It was under the bathroom sink, and everything, I don't know how many times we took everything out of the bottom of that bathroom sink, because we store quite a bit of stuff under there, and we would have to take everything out, dry everything off, dry the floor, and try and figure out what this leak was.
And it was just water. It wasn't anything else. So it drove us nuts for probably 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then I discovered that it was the vacuum breaker valve.
Didn't even know what that was.
Not at that point. And again, it was just through research, and I came to find out that it was leaking when I was flushing the black tank. The vacuum breaker valve is there to keep the flush water from going into your fresh water. I watched it one day while I was flushing the tank, and sure enough, that's where it was leaking from. I replaced it. I keep one in our storage compartment in case it goes again. And just like the sail switch, I keep one of those in the storage compartment. But again, not a reason for a big video saying, "We almost flooded our RV," like when our bathroom faucet went bad in Las Cruces. And now this was a situation where it was really crap. Okay, the bathroom faucet in that Keystone Bullet, much like the toilet, was a real piece of junk. It had these plastic insides that just came apart, broke. And what did I do? I took it out and replaced it with a better faucet. Again, not a situation where we needed to put out a video saying that we almost flooded our RV. Even when I did flood our RV, which had nothing to do with a failure in here, it was just me being dumb.
Human error.
Yeah. I kind of just included that in a mistakes video that we did. And the final thing here. Again, in our brand new rig, which isn't brand new anymore, the water pump went bad, 6 months after we got it?
Yep.
Now, we've talked about before how having the warranty is a whole different situation when you're a full-timer. Okay, you can't afford to be without your rig for 6 months while Camping World or whatever dealership has it and is trying to wait for parts. So you learn how to do things yourself. And I replaced the water pump because the check valve in the water pump had gone bad, and I was getting something that I've seen a lot of people talk about that they've had happen to them. We would be hooked up to city water, and all of a sudden the water would be shooting out of the freshwater tank overflow. The check valve was no good. So I just went and got a water pump, replaced it. Fixed. Issue solved.
Not a disaster.
Not a video. You can see that all of these issues that we've had, they could have been listed as disasters. But really what they are is minor inconveniences. Nothing that you wouldn't put up with living in a house.
Little things go bad all the time. So if you're new to RVing and you're watching all these videos on YouTube, don't get scared away by all the disasters. There are some legitimate disasters. I mean, some people lose a whole axle or something out on the highway, and it's a horrible thing to have to deal with. But these minor conveniences that are sometimes blown up out of proportion, don't let that scare you. You're going to deal with things breaking down in a house. You're going to deal with it breaking down in an RV. Whether you're weekend warriors or you're full-time or you're just on vacation, sometimes things just break. That's just the nature of things. So don't let it scare you away from RV life. Just realize that you just sometimes have to adapt and manage whatever comes up, just like you do in everyday life.
I couldn't put it any better. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.